Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to each and every one of you. On behalf of the SPI team, we would like to invite you and welcome you to the 20th edition of the Emirates NBD Global Business Series, a one-of-its-kind initiative by the Intelligent SME that seeks to inspire entrepreneurs with profound business insights from the most successful business leaders the region has. This is the last of the sessions this year. Hence, we thought hard, who do we invite to conclude this year of inspirational talks, sharings, and insight? And we were fortunate enough to find a rare combination of an individual who's known to be innovative, influential, and dynamic. As we wait to hear from him, a very important mention of the people because of whom this evening has been possible. This success, reach, and impact wouldn't have been possible without the consistent support of our partners. Therefore, a heartfelt thank you to our title sponsor, Emirates NBD Business Banking. Please give them a round of applause. Our strategic SME partner, and a round of applause for Etisalat. And our sole automotive partners, Al Futtaim Motors, Toyota, and all the other supporting partners. Please join me in saying thank you. SPI continues to innovate, and today, before we begin our evening, we are pleased and proud to announce the World SME Summit that has been scheduled for 15th of March next year at the Atlantis, the Palm, Dubai. A perfect platform that brings together renowned industry leaders and game changers to enable SMEs to take their businesses to the next level. Also, the event will host, for the very first time, a luxury conclave, which consists of fashion shows on corporate summer collection. If you intend to redo your wardrobe, that's the place to be. Presenting the shows will be illustrious designers, over 40 known artists at the Art Expo. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the SME World Summit, 15th of March 2016. And we hope to see you there. We can start marking our calendars now. I would like to invite, at this moment, to kickstart this event and to felicitate our speaker for the evening, Mr. Suvo Sarkar, who's the Senior Executive Vice President and Group Head, Retail Banking and Wealth Management from Emirates NBD. May I request you, Mr. Suvo Sarkar, to step forward, please. Our guest of honor for the evening, may I introduce the CEO of Aramex, Mr. Hussein Hachem. I would also like to invite the CEO of SPI Group, Shantanu, to please felicitate and welcome Hussein. And finally, to introduce an important member of the team, our moderator for this evening is Tariq Qureshi. He is the founder and CEO of Vantage Holdings and 100% Mad. Over to you, Tariq.
Thank you, Kevin. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Looking forward to something really special today. We have Hussein here. We're going to make today count. It's the last of the season, so he's going to rock. Is it going to rock?
Let's see. I mean, look, we're going to have an exciting, I don't know how much we have, 45 minutes? I'm not going to hijack your introduction.
1 hour.
1 hour. So I'm a combination of ADD and ADHD. So you might see me jumping all across, but I promise you I'm going to have this night for you with no filter. We're going to talk about Aramex. I'll talk a bit about myself. I'll talk a bit about the future. We'll talk a bit about disruption. We'll talk a bit about humanity. Where are we in this space and what are we doing? We'll talk a bit about how we're going to see our life in the next 20 years and how technology is taking us out of our comfort zone. Back to you. And
You've done the introduction. Thank you very much. It's going to be one of those evenings. We are going to talk about all of that, but we're also going to talk about abundance. We are living in unprecedented times. We see the big headlines every day, and there's so much volatility around us. I'm a media person, and in media, basically, you know, in the brain, there is this little organ called the amygdala. Do you know what amygdala is? It's the survival mechanism in the back of your brain. And that clicks in the moment the eyes see a crisis. So newspaper people, media people like us, we are looking for crisis. And that's why CNN, do you know what CNN stands for? It's called Crisis News Network, because that's all they do, because that's the only way they can get the ratings. My thesis is entirely different. We believe, and Hussein and I, we were discussing earlier on, is that we are living in times of abundance. We are living at the greatest time the world has ever seen. The rate of change that technology is bringing in is so fast that Moore's law has kicked in, and we're living in times of magic and miracles. With augmented reality, with other things, the world is completely changing. But in this process, what I will challenge Hussein today is that there is, and this is something very carefully to listen to this, that there is no company in the world today that is too big to fail. And good news for you guys, there is no company that is small enough that it cannot succeed. So small companies will succeed, and big companies can fail. So you know, in a
Thank
forest...
you for making my night. Huh?
Absolutely, we're going to tell you how we are going to be attacking...
You're such a nice man.
So what happens is that, you know, in a forest, when a big tree falls, and the foliage opens up and the sunlight comes in, just imagine a big tree on the floor like that. It's not replaced by another big tree. It's replaced by the little ones. It's the survival of the fittest. It's the little guys who come in and replace and suddenly start building that tree, around that tree. And that is the essence of what technology and business experiences and opportunities is giving to us today. Aramex as a company, when I look from a distance, to me it's really boring. Why? It's just a commodity. What are you? A glorified postman. That's what you are. Khadi Ghandour, your mentor, your brother, actually said that to me when I interviewed him. He said that I started as a postman, I tried to glorify it. However, this post business has become an amazing business in supply chain management, in e-commerce, and it's really, really looking into the future and completely redefining themselves. And in this process, I think a lot of SMEs who are represented here have been very, very successful, and they've been a part of this process. So this is a little bit of the context that we are looking at, and today we're very fortunate, very blessed to have a wonderful man like Hussein who's come in. From the moment I saw him, I knew he was open, and there was a lot of heart there, and that's what we're going to touch on.
Thank you, Tariq. In fact, just to carry on, we'll address this at a later stage, but yeah, the average age of a company now is going to be 16 years. In 2020, they say 40% of companies on the Fortune 500 will cease to exist. This is the world that we're living in. Embracing change is not a luxury now. It's not something that you would love, you'll think about it. You should rush and see what's happening in terms of technology, what's happening in the startups, and see how you can disrupt the world before you're being disrupted. So this is the world we're living in. And in Aramex, I'll share with you our story. I mean, we've built a fantastic company over 34 years. But however, if we do not change and move to a different business model, embracing technology, we will cease to exist, as simple, as transparent as it is with you. And this is because our customer base is changing, because you as individual has become the ultimate customer for a company like us. The shift from B2B to B2C and technology and mobility, along with other factors of technology, is shifting our world. So let's be ready. I'm going to address what we're doing in that space.
Let's take you back into your childhood.
No, that's very troublesome.
No, I know, exactly. That's exactly why I want to take you there. In the earliest days of your life, who was it that affected you most? Was it your father, your mother? Was it a school teacher? As you were shaping your life, who was the most important person?
I'm Lebanese, so I grew up in Beirut. So I'm going to take you to the 70s and 80s. And imagine how would you, as a young man, live in West Beirut. So that's the environment that I was in. It was an interesting survival mode for you as a teenager, in order to walk down the street from one street to another and make sure you can walk with dignity without you being abused by hundreds of political parties across the road. So it was quite interesting of a personality that shapes you up, living in chaos. I mean, I grew up in an area, in a town or in a country where we don't have law and order in reality. While your parents will put all kind of normality in your life, and the school will tell you what's bad and what's good, but you go out, as soon as you step on the street, you are in the jungle, literally in the jungle. And you need to navigate that jungle in order to reach your home safely, in order to reach your school safely, and reach it with style. You know, you're like 15, 16, you need to navigate in that kind of a manner. So that's, I think the Lebanese war shaped me big time.
Yeah.
And in that war, you meet lots of people. So you meet the street man, you meet the educated, you meet the rough, you meet the ugly, you meet the beauty, and this creates a generation, and I'm part of that generation, I guess.
Indeed. So the learnings from that, do they really help you today? The learning of being in the jungle, and then you're now in the corporate jungle, and then it makes you fitter and stronger?
Oh yeah. Look, I'm a corporate guy, but I'm street smart. I can go to the edge. I can come back. I can navigate. I can connect. Yeah, definitely.
What are the biggest things you screwed up on when you were 16 years of age? that you could share in mixed company. This is the other thing we have to ask.
Let's keep it separate.
We take it separately. But seriously, what are the kinds of really, screw-ups? And because I know a lot of young Lebanese people from your generation, and they have wonderful stories. So share some with the audience.
No, I was in jail for a couple of days. I mean, and that wasn't in Lebanon, by the way. I was driving without a license in Kuwait. So for me as a Lebanese, driving without a license is okay. So it was at that time. It was the week of the traffic week of the GCC. So for me, it was quite normal to drive without a license. So I was caught, and then I was put in jail. And I had a fantastic experience in jail. In fact, I loved it. They had to take me out from one room, separate me, take another room, because I was disrupting the room that I was in. I've made fantastic friends in that jail. A lot of people that were extremely nice people, but had to be driving without a license as well. So it was a collection of crazy people like me in that environment. And this was in 91, 92. So if they shaved my head twice, I don't know why.
I know the feeling. As you can see.
And I stayed there for 10 days. Right. So that was an interesting experience.
In terms of your education, were you a good student? Did you like going to school? Were you
I was, but I wasn't an A student.
Okay.
Not at all. But I was definitely a good student. I mean, I went to a good school.
But were you not an A student because you were bored? Or was it because you were, others
No,
were
there
better
was
than you.
so much interesting things in the street.
That's exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I mean.
I mean, the street was much more interesting to me. I mean, look, I'm sitting in the classroom for me, I mean, till now.
Yeah.
You know, when I have my board meetings, I mean, an hour and a half, 2 hours, I go crazy. My office, you came to my office.
Yes.
My office is a walking treadmill. So I walk when I talk. So this is how I am. So yeah, I think the street was much more interesting. The society, the community, and the interaction, what happens, was by far much more attractive for me.
So if you lived your life again, and as a little 16-year-old Lebanese kid running around, did you want to be an astronaut, or did you want to be the CEO of Aramex, or a corporate guy?
Look, I'll tell you a story. I stumbled into Aramex.
Yeah.
You know, I never picked up or chose to be here. At that time, the best thing for any Lebanese to do is to get the hell out of Lebanon. Literally. So, and Aramex was one of those companies that were offering opportunities. So I went in without knowing what Aramex is. Is it banking? Is it agriculture? Is it delivery? I didn't really care. So I signed in, I got interviewed, and that's how I started. Am I enjoying what I'm doing? Damn yeah. Oh yeah, I love the kick. I love the fact that I'm impacting. I'm impacting my organization. I'm impacting the society. I'm living in a very dynamic world. And this company, from day one, it fostered creativity and innovation. That's our DNA. We were able, look, I'm going to take you back 34 years back. 34 years back, we were a very small company, but competing with the big boys. Probably at that time, we were like, I don't know, $1 or $2, $3 million company competing with a couple of $1 billion. But thanks God that we had no internet at that time, and our knowledge was limited. We never knew how small we were. So we were competing with the big brands, thinking that FedEx is like Aramex, or DHL